Jay here for Stretford Paddock. That is Finn, otherwise known as Academy Scoop, because this is Academy Review, where we look at Manchester United's Academy teams and how they've been getting on with our foremost expert. Finn, how are we doing? Are you all right after last night? Because it is, it's been quite a testing day today for everyone just to sort of get their heads together.
My heart's still going. I don't think I'll ever recover from that.
Well, you've had to go for it twice, haven't you?
Yeah. Because the same thing again today with the Academy.
Let's talk us through it then. What's been happening with the Academy then?
Well, they clearly watched last night's game and said, we can do that too.
Right.
Because neither team wants to make it easy for themselves or have a smooth sailing.
We don't do things easy at Manchester United, do we?
So United were playing Derby County in the obviously under 18 Premier League North at home. Derby County are a great side, kind of the best of the rest, apart from United and City. Beat them earlier in the season, another comeback victory. We went 2-1 down in that game and we ended up winning 3-2. And in this one, we conceded 2 early goals, pretty cheap. The first one, they hit us on the break. It was Cruz Allen with a great finish with his left foot after breaking down the left side. And then the other one, we failed to clear a set-piece delivery and it fell to one of Derby's attackers on the edge of the box. Really nice finish, to be fair. So 2 goals down, and United were asleep at the wheel for a lot of the first half. They weren't their usual selves, and maybe it's that part of the season where the concentration's dropping and there's a bit of fatigue setting in, or maybe even a bit of complacency. I'm not sure, but it was an uncharacteristic first half. Soon responded though. Bendito Mantato started it off, and he's been flying recently. He stepped up really well to the under-21s in recent weeks, and he's chipping in with a lot of goals and assists. Today, Biancheri played him across in the box. Lovely, simple finish with his right foot, low across goal to claw one back for United. We went into the second half, playing with a bit more spirit, a bit more energy. James Scanlon got involved. Shea Lacey was kind of the game changer in this one. He came on in the second half, replacing Mantato, who'd been bright as well, but Lacey's got something magic about him. When he comes on, he can really kind of sway the momentum of a game. He demands the ball, and as a team, they're always happy to pass to him because he makes things happen. So the first one, I mean, his first touch was a nutmeg, so that tells you what you need to know about him. He dribbled it into the box, beat his man. He wasn't able to get a shot off, but it fell loose to Scanlon, who finished well with his right foot. So that drew us level at 2-2. Next, he got on the ball again, on the edge of the box, dummied past his defender, put it onto his right foot and finished well into the bottom corner. It's good to see he's got a right foot as well. And that was 3-2. It looked like United had completed the comeback, but Derby had a little bit left in the tank. So they pulled another one back, another kind of cheap goal. So it was 3-3 with a few minutes left to go. And Victor Musa was there to finally complete the comeback. Just like last night we saw in the first team. Shea Lacey was involved again. He took it on the inside, played a really nice disguised pass to Tyler Fletcher in the box, who squared it across to Musa, and he was there to finish and tap in. And it was another beautiful comeback victory.
I mean, where do you start with all that? Shea Lacey is a player you've spoken about a lot on this channel, and you've been speaking about him for years on your socials as well. You've been covering his career. And he's a player that obviously you mentioned there and mentioned other times is an amazing talent. There is a slight concern about how they handle him because of the injuries he's had. How worried are you about injuries? Do you feel like he's getting back to full fitness now? Well, he's obviously back to full fitness, but do you feel like that could be an issue for him moving forward, or do you feel like he could be someone who's sort of moving away from those issues?
I think there's optimism that he's not going to be troubled by injuries long term, and that a lot of the injuries that he has suffered in the last 18 months or so have been kind of growth related, which happens to be the case for a lot of young players around this age. I mean, Jack Moorhouse, who's flying now, and I'm sure we'll talk about soon, he almost has spent the whole last 3 years out injured. I don't think he made more than 10 appearances in any of his last 3 seasons until now. So that can be the case while they're growing and their bodies are adapting. They're more prone to injuries, and you have to be a bit more careful. And I think that's likely the case with Lacey. He's come back and it looks like he's grown a few inches. It looks like he's filled out a little bit and is a bit more of a physical presence because he's been quite lightweight compared to his peers for a long time. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic that now he's going to kick on. It's my understanding that the club are quite keen on almost bubble wrapping him for the remainder of the season, just to make sure that he can get back into the swing of things without suffering too many setbacks. He's been in and out of the team recently, and I'm told that that's not necessarily because he's been suffering any more setbacks or injuries, and just that they want to be really careful with managing his load and managing his minutes, so that hopefully he can be ready for an impactful pre-season. There's a chance that he'll be called up to the United's first team pre-season tour, and that would be a great opportunity for him to finally get involved in the first team, which I think, if it weren't for the injuries, probably could have happened a little while ago.
I mean, yeah, I'd love to see him on pre-season. I think that seeing these youngsters in a pre-season tour is great, because a lot of them, it's the first opportunity you get to see them with the first team. It isn't obviously a competitive game, so it's not quite got an edge to it, but they can sort of show us what they're about. And obviously the fans are going mad because they're getting an opportunity to see them in first hand, where usually they wouldn't get that. Yeah,
I think for him in particular, he's one of those players who could maybe look even better playing with first team players who are maybe more on his wavelength, because he's such an intelligent player, and he really kind of creates something out of nothing almost every time he gets on the ball. And I think playing at a higher level might actually suit his game even more, and kind of bring out some of the more technical sides of his game. So yeah, it's an exciting prospect, and hopefully he can stay fit and get back involved. Yeah.
It's Musa scoring again.
Absolutely.
He's been banging him in,
Yeah, he scored 6 a couple of weeks ago.
All right.
In one half.
As you do.
He's done really well this season, actually, especially in the kind of latter stages. He's struggled a little bit, I think, at under 18 level until recently, but and there's also been lots of competition. Obviously, people like Biancheri and Chido Obi. It's tough to compete with such high quality strikers. But yeah, he's done amazingly well in recent weeks and months, and is kind of getting into a bit of a goal scoring groove, which is really great to see. And it's helped United's title hopes that are still, they're still there and they're still real, even though it looks like City are just not going to drop any points. But we're at least keeping it as close as we can for now. So I think it's going to go right until the end of the season, that one.
Well, obviously a big result. Yeah. Another comeback victory. I want to talk about some of the players you mentioned, also looking ahead towards the game against Wolves, because Ruben Amorim sort of said, it depends how you interpret his words. It was like, I don't want us to throw kids in, but we will use them if needed. I'm sort of paraphrasing what he said. Now, there are some youngsters who obviously have been in and around the first team. You mentioned Harry Amas, who I think he'll start. We did our preview that's going out tomorrow morning. I picked him to start in my predicted 11. Did very well against Lyon. He's done well earlier in the season. I think he against Leicester as well. He's obviously showed what he's about. After not having to wait a long time, that sounds insane, but he played in pre-season. Then he had a bit of a gap, didn't he?
Yeah,
between that and
he's someone that was involved in kind of first team football from the age of 15. So,
he was, wasn't he?
It's been a long time coming for him, but he's taken the opportunity well, and he doesn't look out of place.
No, it's great to see. One player I mentioned on the preview who I think might get a start, and I was more or less going off your comments you've made in the past and the little bits I've seen of him, and also comments we have on your videos from people as well. It was Jack Moorhouse, a player you've absolutely raved about. You say what talent he is, how he carries the ball so well, something that would work in a Ruben Amorim system. Do you think we might see something from him against Wolves, or if not, before the season ends?
Yeah, I really hope so. He's one of those players that I've heard has really impressed some kind of more senior figures at United throughout the season. Obviously, just mentioned earlier that he struggled with a lot of injuries before, but now he seems, fingers crossed, out of the woods in terms of injuries. And he's got a lot of desirable traits for a modern attacking midfielder, that ball carrying, that kind of power and athleticism, and he's really two-footed as well. And I think he is one of those players that hopefully will be involved on Sunday. Maybe, I don't know if we'd rest Bruno, but I think one of those number 10 positions could be up for grabs. So whether he starts or comes off the bench, I think it would be great to see him make his debut. He's 19 now, so I'd say he's definitely ready and old enough to be involved. I think he's one of the few players that I'd actually be confident would kind of make a real impact and wouldn't look out of place one bit. Because physically, importantly, he's up to the level.
Yeah.
He's not stocky, but he's filled out quite well, and he's very fast and very strong. and that obviously bodes well for a first-team transition. So I'm really hopeful that he'll get at least some minutes off the bench, maybe even a start. I feel like we're all waiting to see how far Amorim's going to go with this playing the kids thing, whether that means a couple minutes off the bench for a couple players or start basically the under-18 side.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see.
When me and Keris did the preview, she was a little bit more cautious, or didn't feel it'd be that many changes. Where I threw a few youngsters in my predicted 11. One youngster I did, and this is a bit of a punt because I'm not sure quite how ready some defenders are because of what happened against Lyon, was Kukonki, Godwill Kukonki.
Yep.
A player, again, I'm going off you, not to sort of blame it all on you, but you're the expert on this and you've mentioned him a few times. We've seen him on the bench, we've seen the physicality, he's got talent as well. He's not just there because he's a big lad, he's there because he's a very talented defender. Do you have any inkling that, or do you think that he could feature as well?
Yeah, again, similar to Moorhouse, I think physically you can't say that he's not at the level required for United. You know, he stands at something like 6'3", obviously really, really kind of strong muscular frame, and playing at under 18 level and even under 21 level, he's kind of just too physical of a presence for a lot of these players to deal with. So I think he could be ready to make that step up, and again, hopefully he gets minutes. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know if Heaven's fit or if there's a rumour that he suffered a setback.
Yeah, there was talk of a setback, wasn't there?
Yeah.
At first there was a rumour that him and Mainoo had both suffered setbacks. Obviously that was nonsense because Mainoo was fine and he played very well and scored the goal against Lyon. Yeah. But I think there was something in the Heaven rumours, so hopefully he's back sooner. Yeah,
but if not, I would expect Kukonki to slot into that kind of left centre-back position. Yeah. Again, hard to tell whether he'd start or get minutes off the bench, but I mean, Amorim commented on him and kind of pointed him out really early in the season and said that he thinks he's ready to play Premier League minutes, and that was quite a while ago, and he hasn't made his debut as of yet, so maybe Sunday's the day.
Gets the crowd going that as well.
It's really exciting.
It does, doesn't it? You know what? I love that. If we get a few youngsters in there, especially after what happened on Thursday night, everyone will be buzzing.
Yeah.
Just one final one on the youngsters. This is a name that comes up all the time. You know what I'm going to ask you about, because we know we've got issues up front. He can't play in the Europa League. Mm-hmm. He's done well when he's come into the first team. He's not got his first goal yet, but that doesn't matter because he's still playing very well. Chido Obi. Do you see him featuring against Wolves? Do you think they could even get a start? Because I was tempted to put him in my predicted 11 as a starter, but then I just thought maybe Rasmus Højlund's going to get another game or keep his place in the team just because he needs minutes to get, hopefully, his confidence back up. I know we keep saying that. But do you think Chido might be in with a shout? I think
alongside Amas, I've got a little hunch. This isn't based on any info or anything, but I've got a hunch that he might start.
Right.
I think we've seen how strong he looked coming off the bench. Looked like he's really got those striker instincts that you look for in terms of his movement and how he uses his body and engages in duels with defenders and stuff. He's looked really quite refined and mature for his age in some of his cameos. He hasn't had as many minutes recently as he probably would have hoped for, just based on kind of the schedule and it's kind of just how it's worked out. But yeah, I think alongside Amas, he could be one that actually starts right from kick-off against Wolves. And you know, like you said, he hasn't bagged his first goal yet, but maybe Sunday could be the day. It'd be great for him to kind of really kickstart his career at United, because he's seen as a player that has, you know, heaps of potential and is really seen as a future mainstay of this first team squad. There's a reason there was so much interest in him in the summer, and why Arsenal tried so hard to keep hold of him, because he's got a lot of desirable traits for a number 9. And again, Sunday could be the day.
I worry me, right? I think Amorim's got to be careful here with Chido, because this sounds insane. Bear with me, Finn.
I'm with you.
Chido comes into this team, smashes it, right? Does the things that maybe Rasmus Højlund's been missing lately. And then everyone's like, look, this is what we missed. Why isn't Højlund doing this? Then then you get to
cause a bit of a shitstorm.
Yeah, it does. It probably hurts Rasmus Højlund's confidence even more.
Yeah.
You can't have Chido in the Europa, so then you've got to go back to Rasmus Højlund. His teammates are like, we were just bringing balls to Chido. He's banging him in and you're fluffing your lines again or whatever. So I don't know. I think Amorim's got to look at the bigger picture. I know that's insane, forgive me, especially on Academy Review.
Yeah.
But I do worry. It's like, it's a catch-22.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, a young player scoring for Manchester United will always be a positive, by the way. I'm not saying it's a negative, but there can be negative parts to it in the sense that it might even sort of harm but maybe, Rasmus Højlund. I don't know.
Maybe for Rasmus, he needs to be out of the spotlight. I guess maybe it would bring more spotlight to him, but I think maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing if he gets a little bit of time to step away and let someone else take the reins. Although if it is an 17-year-old striker that's scoring and performing in the first team, then you do ask more questions about, well, why can't you do the same? So it's an interesting one. But I don't think Amorim will necessarily be thinking that and will hold Chido.
I don't think
because of that.
Anyone would, other than me, to be honest with you, Finn. You're being kind there.
I get what you're saying, though.
Do you know, like, it was like the Arsenal game, and I remember everyone was, and myself was like, get Chido on, and he didn't, and I thought, I get that, because the Europa League game's coming up, and he's not available for it. You've got to just give Rasmus a bit of faith.
Right,
think, you're my guy. Otherwise, his head's going to be gone.
And also the club want to keep the noise quite low with Chido anyway, because for any young player, even if they are seen as having tons of potential, you want to keep the hype to a minimum. Obviously, give them credit where they're due, but you don't want to go too far on some of these players. So I think there's been a bit of that in terms of him not having as many minutes as maybe some people would have expected. But I do think Sunday is a really good opportunity for that to happen.
Well, we'll see. Thank you, Finn. Always a pleasure. Go and check him out, Academy Scoop, on all your socials. Covers everything to do with Manchester United, but especially the academy teams as well. And he's always got a few scoops. He lives up to his moniker there. Plus, he'll be joining us on the channel more and more. You'll have seen him on the Brew earlier. He's going to be on more channels, more podcasts too. So don't forget, check out Academy Scoop. You know where to find me, Jay. That's been Finn. I've been Jay. This has been Academy Review. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.